Hello, today is Thursday, the 4th of February, and this is our next step of our learning journey for EYFS and Key Stage 1, the mystery of the Totnes lily pads. Yes, it's all more clues coming to light. Let's see how we're getting on now. Let's have a quick look at our gateway because we need to just make sure that we're really focused with this task. And as well as being excellent detectives and being able to solve this mystery, it's really important to reflect on what learning is actually taking place. What are we actually getting out of carrying out this task? So we've talked about our gateway of explorers. What a perfect way to show our skills as an explorer by playing detectives. It's all about reflecting on what we find interesting about the task and also really considering that challenge. And then don't forget as well, our role as detectives is all about finding an answer. It's up to you to decide what I'm going to do or what you are going to do. We've had a go at asking some questions, very important if we're going to uncover those important clues. Suggest some answers. So we did that yesterday when we made predictions about what we think might have happened. Explain why. So again, we use that really important explaining word. Does anyone remember what word I'm talking about? What word helps us to explain why we think what we do? That's right, it's the word because. Because helps to extend our thinking and explain the evidence or the clues that we have that back up what we're thinking. And then the next step is to be able to share my ideas and listen to the ideas of others. Now, some of you did a brilliant job of that when you joined us for our science Zoom yesterday, listening to everyone's ideas. And you may have also shared some brilliant ideas on Class Dojo in various different ways. So thank you for doing that. You may be just sharing your ideas with your siblings and your parents at home. And that's also a really good way to share our ideas. So we can do that by having conversations and explaining what we're thinking. But we might actually want a more formal way to record our ideas. And so that's what we're going to be looking at today. What's a way that we can write down and record what it is we know about this mystery? So that's right, today we're going to be creating one of these. This is called a police report. So in various different forms, depending on which group you're in, we're going to be writing down our predictions, using our evidence to explain why we think what we do, to form some kind of report, to solve the mystery of what happened last Tuesday around 8 p.m. So today's learning objective is a little bit different to our learning question. What are we actually going to be doing today? Today's learning objective says, I can write a report to share what I know about the mystery. Okay, once again, I have broken down the tasks into 3 separate activities that you can choose. You should be aiming again if you're in walnut class for somewhere around green or amber, and if you're in oak class, amber to red. Let's have a look at what our activities are today. What kind of report are we going to be writing in order to share what we know? So, green team, you are going to be doing this. Your learning objective says, I can create a poster displaying my prediction of what happened. So hopefully yesterday you would have come to some kind of a conclusion, that means made up your mind, about what you think might have happened last Tuesday at 8 p.m. So in order to share this information with PC Briggs and the general public of Totnes, I'm asking you to create a poster. A poster is a big sign that you might put up in a window in a public space so that everyone can see what's been going on. So you can do that by drawing a picture, and even better if you actually write a label or a sentence to explain what's going on in your poster. Amber group, you are going to be doing this. It says, I can create a poster again, asking for more information. So rather than just explaining what you think happened, you are going to be doing a very important job for PC Briggs. PC Briggs is asking for people to come forward with more information. This is actually a really common thing for the police to do if there is an unsolved mystery and they suspect that there are members of the public that might know something that could help. So we're going to create a poster for them today. And finally, the red group, your challenge is to do this, achieve this learning objective here. It says, I can write a full report using all of the information we have so far. So you've got quite an important job of not just requesting more information, but giving a very detailed description of what we know so far. And this kind of report would go into the police file that could be later used if anything else, any more evidence came to light. You could be later used to look back on. So it's really important that you record everything that you know in your full report. Now, if you're scratching your head and thinking, goodness me, Ms Broach, I don't know what one of these posters looks like. I don't know what a police report looks like. Don't worry. What are we going to do next? Well, I am going to show you, where's my writing? There we go. I'm going to show you one of these. A waggle. What's a waggle? Well, it stands for what a good one looks like. So I have on the next pages have got some examples of what I'm asking you to produce, except rather than just giving you the ideas for this particular mystery and kind of doing the work for you, I've used a different theme for my waggle, for my examples. The theme that I've gone for is the mystery of the missing cat. Have you ever seen a missing cat poster posted up around the town? People often use them if their pet has gone missing or they haven't seen it, to give a description of what their pet looks like, in the hopes that someone will spot their precious cat and return it to the owner. So we are going to create a prediction of what we think might, I'm going to show you, a prediction of what I think might have happened to the cat. I'm going to show you one of these missing posters requesting more information. That's the amber task. And then I'm also going to show you what a police report might have looked like if the owner had phoned the police about the missing cat. Now remember, your report is going to be about the lily pad mystery, but I'm just showing you this as an example of what your reports might look like. Okay, let's have a look at the first one. Now again, just like yesterday, you can actually fast forward this video to the section that's relevant to you. So if you're going to do the green challenge, I'm going to show you that on the next slide. If you're going to do the amber challenge, fast forward a bit because it will be on the following slide. You can skip the green slide a bit. And if you're on the red one, go right through to the end, skip right through to the end, and just look at the screen that has the big red traffic light on the left-hand side. Or in fact, on the right-hand side for the red traffic light. Okay, anyway, let's skip ahead to the green now. Here we go. Okay, so if you are in the green team, this is your learning objective. I can make a prediction and write about it. So we're going to make your final prediction. You're going to make your prediction about what you think happened with the lily pads last Tuesday at 8 p.m. But the mystery that I am writing about and predicting about is what's happened to the cat. So as you can see, here is my evidence, my notebook that I've been taking down notes of what might have happened to the cat. It said, cat last seen chasing birds in the garden. Okay, so the owner last saw the cat chasing birds in the garden. And the next thing it says is mewing heard by the lady next door. So I've thought about these clues and I've got a theory. My theory is that the cat, can you see what the cat might have done? That's right. Now I think that the cat may have climbed a tree. So I'm going to get my pen and I'm going to draw a line to start doing some labels, and I'm going to use my sounds, my Fred fingers, to label my picture. Tree. I want to label my tree. T-er-e. T-er-e. Tree. Okay, here we go. What's the first sound I can hear? T. Oh, not in capitals, please. T. Er. Ter. E. Now, E is a tricky sound for most of you. Most of you won't have come across E, so you might have to ask a grown-up to help you. But it's when you put the two sounds together, it makes the E sound. T-er-e. Tree. So it's really important to label where possible. Now, I'm also going to label the animal, just so it's really clear what I think happened to the cat. I'm going to label the cat. K-at. 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 Cat. Fantastic. I'm proud of that. I think that's quite enough labelling. Well done, me. K-at. Okay, so I've used my thread fingers to pinch the sounds that I can hear and identify what phonics I can hear. Okay, so if you get that far and you've made your prediction and labelled it, well done, you've done a pretty good job. Now if you're thinking, yeah, that was okay, but I think I can do a bit more, I've got more I want to say about this prediction, then you could have a go at using these starter sentences, these stem sentences. So the first sentence is, I think that, and then you can copy that down, you can pause the video here and copy that down and write, I think that, and then you want to fill in your idea. I think that the cat climbed a tree, or you might say got stuck in a tree. Oh, let's see, that squiggly red line is telling me, Ms Broach, you have misspelled the word climbed. K-l-i-m-d. But I know, because I've seen this word before, that there's a sneaky silent letter in there. It's a B. Climbed. That's a tricky word to spell. I think that the cat climbed a tree. And then this word here, we talked about explaining why we know this answer or why we think this, using this word because. So the next step would be to write my because, fill in my because section. I think the cat climbed a tree because the mewing was coming from a tree next door. Okay, the mewing was coming from the tree next door. Now, I kind of made that bit up, didn't I? Because it's not written here in my notes, but you get the idea of why I might have thought that the cat was stuck in a tree. Okay, so that's it for your making your prediction if you are in the green group. Before you start, I just want to give you a quick reminder of those fantastic targets that you might have set yourself in Miss Lyon's learning journey last week. This week, I'd like you to really concentrate again on achieving those targets that you set yourself. If you think you did super amazingly well and you found those targets really, really simple, really easy, then why don't you try moving up one target and focusing on that this week? So if last week you were concentrating on using your thread fingers to find the sounds, then maybe this week you could try including finger spaces. If you did your finger spaces, make sure you've got full stops and so on. Okay, so don't forget that success criteria. That's going to we're going to keep coming back to that throughout the year and actually throughout all of your school years to make sure that you're achieving these goals and really constructing those sentences, building those sentences really, really beautifully. Okay, so that's all for the green team. You can now stop the video and you can go ahead and have a look at your clues and evidence and start creating your prediction now. Look forward to seeing your ideas uploaded onto Class Dojo. Thanks everyone, bye-bye. Okay, welcome Amber team. So those of you that have skipped ahead to this section are going to be working on this learning objective. It says, I can create a poster asking for more information. So my poster that I have designed and created describes my mystery, which is all about a missing cat. So what I'm going to do is just show you some of the different sections that you will need to have on your poster, which is going to be all about the Totnes lily pad mystery. Here we go. So let's start at the top. The first thing you need to make sure we include is what's this called? We have it on any kind of, really on any kind of piece of writing that we might do. It goes right at the top of the page and it explains what the entire page is all about. It's called some of you might have said the word title. I like to use the word, let me get my writing pen back. I like to call it a heading. So right at the top, there needs to be a really clear heading that explains what your page is all about. So you may also want to include, you might want to do a little illustration. You might want to include a picture that shows visually what has happened. So your own representation of what happened and what was seen when Ms Broach went to Leachwell last Wednesday after the mystery had occurred. What else do we need to include in our poster looking for more information? Well, first of all, you need to explain what's happened and when. So this sentence here says Roxy went missing, okay? And then it says from the car park, so it explains where. And the other important thing it explains and mentions is this here. It says Friday the 30th of August 2013. That gives us really important information about when it happened. So this important information I'm going to call the who, what, so who did it happen to, what, where, and what's that other important question that we need to answer? When. The who, what, where, when section. So this paragraph is all about giving that important information, those important facts and dates, so that people can think, oh, I actually do know something that happened on Friday the 30th of August, or last Tuesday at 8 p.m. was what you might be writing about. Okay, so just giving information about what we know so far, the who, what, where, when. The next section, the next thing you might want to write about is this section here. This says she is tabby white, so it gives a bit of a description. And it also says she has a brown mark on her nose and she's wearing a pink collar. Okay, so I've just highlighted those key descriptions. It gives a little bit more information. So you might want to give a description or more information. So you might want to give a little bit more information about what you know about the mystery so far. So once you've given the basic facts, the who, what, where, when, you might want to explain perhaps that there was a witness and what the witness saw, or take one of your key bits of information, your key clues, and describe that as well. Okay, finally, in this type of poster, you'll have another sentence at the bottom that says, if found, please contact. So you might want to ask that the person reading this poster, if they have any more information, contacts PC Briggs. Or you might want to put your name, or you might want to say Totnes St John's School. You might want them to phone the school so they can get in touch with the children that way. Information. Or you might want to put my name. You might want to say contact Ms Broach at Totnes St John's. It's up to you which way you want to direct the reader if they are able to give us some more information. Okay, so that's it. That is your missing poster, not your missing poster, sorry, your more information wanted poster. So you're going to have to think carefully about what your heading's going to be. Again, let's just review the different sections here. There's a heading, a picture, the who, what, where, when section, a bit more information about what you know about the clues already, about the investigation, and then contact information. So if found, please contact. What should they do to give more information? Okay, last of all, please don't forget, children, the success criteria that you talked about or that you chose last week when you did the writing activity for Miss Lyons. It's really important that we are building on our targets that we've given ourselves and that we continue to improve. So for example, last week, if you chose to concentrate on your finger spaces, you need to think, how did I do? Did I do that really well, or do I still need to work on my finger spaces? If you think, I'm not quite there, I still need to practice, then stick with that. If you think, actually, I did that brilliantly, I really worked on my finger spaces and I've made really good improvements, then this week you might want to think about your full stops and your end marks. If you were working on your end marks last week, maybe this week it's time to think about your capital letters. Or maybe, if you're really pushing yourself, you want to try and use some of those lovely adjectives and describing words. So make sure, children, that we're always going back to reviewing the success criteria, looking at those targets and including them in our writing and checking what we've written against the success criteria that you can see here. Okay, best of luck everyone with your posters, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them on Class Dojo very soon. Well done, detectives, and we'll speak to you next week. Thanks, bye. Well, hello, Red Hat Detectives. Here we go. Here is your red challenge. Let's have a little review of what your learning objective is going to be this week. So your challenge is to write a full report. It says, I can write a full police report about the evidence, that means the clues, that has been found so far. Okay, the evidence that has been found so far. So you're going to need to go back over your notes and think about everything you know about the mystery of the Totnes lily pads, and see if you can put those into some brilliant sentences to explain to the police, to go into the police file, so that we have all the information we need. Now, obviously, the example that I'm giving you is on a different theme. It's about the missing cat. Okay, this is just an example so that you can see what a police report might look like. So it's a bit tricky because you're going to probably need to lay this out yourself in your books or maybe on a piece of paper. You could have a look for this kind of template. You can get your grown-ups to have a look for a template online. If you have a printer or access to that, then you could print off a template if you like. But it doesn't really matter. It's all about getting the right headings and subheadings, and that will help to give you the structure. So you can just copy this structure onto a piece of paper or into your books. That's fine. So let's have a look at the different things you're going to need to include. At the top here we have A. Does anyone know what that bit is called? The big writing at the top of really any piece of writing might have one. It might have a title, or you might call it a heading. A heading. Okay, that's going to tell you what the whole page is all about. This one says evidence form, but you might want to write mystery of Totnes lily pads, or be a bit more specific as to what your page is all about. Okay, another really important or interesting thing that would be useful to include is this thing here, nice and simple. It's a picture. So the picture that the missing cat mystery is showing here is a tree trunk and some claw marks. Okay, so we have drawn a picture of the evidence, a picture of one of the clues that will be really important to remember. Over here we've got some information. It says case number, name of detective, and the address of the crime scene. Now you can choose if you want to include these things. They're not particularly important. They would be in a real police report, but for the purpose of what we're doing, we don't really need to have this, but you can if you want. It's a bit of fun. Now to the really important stuff. We need to look at these down here. Now, does anyone know what smaller questions underneath the heading might be called? Heading, and then you've got the smaller questions underneath. They're called these ones here. There's one there. one there and one there. These are called subheadings. Let's go up here. I'm going to write the word subheadings. Headings that come underneath the main heading. And they can either be sentences, but in this case they're questions, subheadings. What do the subheadings say? Well, the subheadings tell us what information is contained in that paragraph or in those sentences that come next. So let's have a look at what these particular subheadings are all about, what information is being given now. So the first subheading says, what crime? What crime? So you can use that subheading, or you could make up your own version. You could say what happened, for example. So I'm going to change mine slightly to say what happened, or what was the crime, maybe you want to put. Now here, for the missing cat mystery, I have put a ginger cat. So I've used a describing word there, ginger cat. So it's really important to put in as much information as you can and give lots of detail by using those describing words, those adjectives. A ginger cat by the name of Tom. So I've added the name. Maybe you have a witness whose name you could add in there. Has gone missing. So that's what's happened. He could be lost, or he could have been stolen. So there I've given my theory or my opinion about what may have happened. So that's where your prediction may come into it. The next section says, I'm going to switch back to my writing now. The next section says, the next subheading here, right there, it says, this is a really important word here. Where did it happen? Now I think that's a really important question, because the person reading this needs to know the location of the crime. That's really important information. Can you remember the location? Can you remember where Ms Broach was when she spotted those lily pads? If not, you can go back and watch the video, or some of you might have remembered that I was at Leachwell Gardens. That's right. So this one says he was last seen last night, so it says when as well as where, at 6 p.m. Okay, the time, we all know the time that it happened as well, our mystery happened. And then it says in the Forest School area at Totnes St John's. So that tells you where the crime happened. So actually under this question it just says where did it happen, but where and when is just being described there. And then finally it says describe your evidence. Describe your evidence. Now, does anyone remember what that word evidence means, or what's another word to say evidence? That's right, it's the word clues. Now you might just want to write clues so far. So you could write these are our clues so far, and then give a brief description of what we know so far, or you might want to write describe your evidence. That's the proper police way to say it. Okay, it says Mr. Wellington saw him chasing birds in the EYFS playground. Then he heard a mewing noise coming from a tree. He tried to see if he could spot the cat, but it was too dark. Mr. Wellington did notice claw marks on the tree trunk. So again, it's referring back to what's happening in the picture. So this section really is all about you describing what you saw in the pictures that we saw on Monday, and also describing if any witnesses saw anything. And then later on we had some more information yesterday on Class Dojo. We actually had that audio recording as well. So what could you hear? Don't forget to use your detective skills and describe not just what you can see, but what you can hear, or the pieces of the puzzle that you've been thinking about. And you could even put any of your questions in this section as well. Okay, finally, I just want to remind you all, it's really important that we're using our success criteria targets when we're doing our writing. You would have had a look at these last week with Miss Lyons. Some of you might be choosing to focus on your capital letters. Now last week, if you did your capital letters and you think, actually, I did a really good job of those, I think I've got that now, you might want to work this week on your describing words. Now here is a really excellent target for us to choose this week, you might want to make sure that you're really explaining why using because or so. Okay, those really important explaining words. We've talked a lot about those when we did our predictions. So you've had some practice explaining your thinking using because or so. So you're definitely going to get bonus points for using those very important words. So if you think that you'd like to stick with the same target as last week, you can do that and then try and really improve your skills and make sure that you're using that particular target every single time. Or if you think you did a really good job with that particular target last week, you can move up and choose the next one to focus on for this week. Okay, that's all from me, detectives. It's down to you now to get down all of that important information into that important report so we can hand those back to PC Briggs and tell her all about what we have been investigating this week. Good luck, everyone, and I can't wait to see your examples up on Class Dojo at some point before the end of the week. Okay, everyone, well done. Thanks, and bye-bye.